Hey, what's up? Otaku Mike here. Let's talk about Eddie Brock Carnage issue number 3. So Eddie Brock Carnage issue number 3 picks up right after the event of the second issue. We are in the thick of it for sure with Carnage and Eddie fighting Bushwacker. Bushwacker has been pretending to be a police officer or a detective, and at this moment he has just killed every single person within the police department. So in this fight with Bushwacker, Carnage and Eddie aren't at their full 100% strength because of stuff that has happened in the past with Carnage. He still sort of needs time to heal. And we get this really interesting thing with Eddie. Eddie basically says, I'm not a killer, I'm not a killer. Yes, Eddie has killed before, and Eddie admits that he has killed. He's like, I'm not that, that's not what I am. And Carnage is basically like, look, Eddie, you are a killer, and you might not be as bad as Bushwacker, because Bushwacker is a full-on monster, but you're gonna do this because that's what exactly I want you to do. We're gonna take on Bushwacker. And oh boy, do they take on Bushwacker. They get it to the point where he actually runs out of ammunition, and he goes and runs for the armory, like vaults, at this police station, and he basically eats everything in this armory. And I did not know that Bushwacker was technically like a cyborg, and he ate his ammunition. I thought that was kind of creative, just saying. And Carnage is like, okay, yeah, we got him. And Eddie's like, no, we don't got him, because like I said before, Bushwacker eats all the ammunition, and he gets like super big and super like bulky. Like he is almost unstoppable, it seems like. But they do actually end up killing Bushwacker in a pretty creative, gruesome fashion, I might add. And they end up getting his files from his personal computer at the police station, and he sends them to Bailey, who Bailey is a true crime podcaster who has been working with Eddie, or Eddie has been working for her, doing like field reporting work for the podcast, and she's been sending him on missions to go find these, I guess, serial killers, and Eddie's been killing them, and she just finds out that like he's been killing these serial killers. And he's like, look, I'm gonna send you this stuff, you look over it, I got a job I have to do, and you're just gonna have to deal with it, basically. So after all that happens, Eddie and Carnage are back at their cruddy motel, and he basically starts talking to Carnage like, we gotta like work together, this and that. You gotta tell me what happened to the passengers, because the passengers of the plane from the first issue are still technically missing. We find out what happens to the passengers, and Carnage is basically holding them hostage, like in a cave under like symbiotic control, and Carnage is basically using those as leverage against Eddie, because basically Eddie knows if he doesn't do what Carnage wants, what's worse, Eddie dying or Eddie having all those people's lives on his conscience? And we end up getting this really interesting thing happen as well. When Eddie falls asleep, Carnage actually starts to try to attack Eddie's subconscious and his mind to try to get into it, but Eddie actually ends up installing or like putting up like mental blocks. So Carnage is really having a hard time trying to get into Eddie's mind to fully take over Eddie. And then we end up switching back over to Bailey, who gets the files from Eddie and for Bushwacker's computer. And we find out that these files aren't like investigative files or anything. These are basically a murder journal. And he had somebody who he wanted to kill next. He wants to kill Muse. But she's like, what? That's crazy. Muse is technically dead. And then she gets a knock at the door, and she finds out the FBI is there with Misty Knight. And they're like, no, Muse is not dead, and we need to know where the hell Eddie Brock is. All right, so let's take a look at the internal artwork for this issue. There's your creative team right there. And I just have to say this, oh man, this issue was very violent and very well done. It's probably one of the most dark, gritty series I feel like I've read from Marvel in quite some time. That's not Red Band. Like, I'm really surprised that this isn't Red Band. But I have to say, the artwork, I feel like has gotten better with this series as it's going forward. Or maybe I'm just liking it a lot more. Like, I know I had a little bit of problems with the art in the first issue ish, in the second issue kind of, but I feel like it's really kind of growing on me. Like, I'm really enjoying this, like how they're like drawing all these characters and stuff. Like, the fights are really cool and very creative on like kind of how like they ended up like killing Bushwacker. Like, I really didn't think they were kind of gonna go through with it, but I'm really interested to see like how far they're willing to take this and how many bad guys they're gonna end up killing. But yeah, the artwork is very, very well done, in my opinion. Like, I like it a lot. I really like it when we see Carnage in his suit. He is very, very dapper, in his weird, creepy Carnage suit. Like, he's still creepy and very intimidating, like, and scary, um, in a sense. Like, they make him like cool, scary, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, this artwork, I love it. I love this artwork now, I think. And I can't wait. I think it's only going to get better, like in the subsequent issues. Oh man, this issue was so much fun. I was a little worried going into this issue that I wouldn't really like it because I was kind of sort of on issue 2 just a little tad bit, but this starts to pull itself together and the story becomes really good in my opinion. It goes in some dark, twisted, interesting ways. I really like the very contentious relationship between Eddie and Carnage going throughout this particular issue, because we all know Carnage is always looking for a more suitable host to latch onto and take control of, because Carnage is all about the killing. Eddie is not about that killing, but things really start to come together in this issue. I feel like I feel like we get more into the psyche of really Carnage and Eddie in a sense, and how this has been affecting Eddie in somewhat of a negative light. I feel like, I mean, he's technically doing good by killing Bushwacker, but at what cost is this really, taking a toll on him? I feel like, with, yes, he killed this one person, but hundreds of people died within the years Bushwacker was active, and also, like the people who were casualties when their fight ended up, taking, in the police station. But all in all, solid third issue. And I gotta say, don't sleep on this. I mean, I'm one who jumped into this cold turkey, and I am definitely having fun with this. And I want to see where this goes next, especially with what happened with Carnage and Eddie. And like I'm curious to know where this goes, because like obviously they're going after somebody next. I'm guessing that's the new Muse who has come out, which is Morgan or Megan, I believe her name is, which she is in the Daredevil Unleash Hell miniseries at the moment. So I wonder if we're going to get a little crossover between that and this series, possibly. But yeah, this is a fun, interesting, gritty take on, of basically going to kill all these possible supervillains, because he's going after people who have superpowers. It seems like mostly, which I want to know where that's going to take them, because it's very much left really open-ended in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts down below. Are you checking out Carnage? Are you reading it? I would love to hear your thoughts. Comment down below. I'm a Talking Mike. I'll catch you guys in the next video.